Hey folks, welcome to another edition of Play Branson, where you get to know Branson's entertainers better. My name is Chris Meyer, and I'm here with my co-host, Haley Westrich. Haley, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How about yourself?
I'm doing great.
Good.
You know, we're kind of still in the middle of winter.
Yeah, still super cold out.
It is. It's been very cold.
Yes.
Back in January, I was driving down the road, and one day it said -8.
Ugh.
And that's not normal.
No.
And then I always tell people, if you come to the Ozarks, just stay a little while, the weather will change. So The first of the week, it might be 10 degrees. By the end, it might be 60.
Yes.
So Valentine's weekend is coming up. Now, here's the deal. Valentine's is in the middle of the week. So do you celebrate the weekend before, the weekend after, or on the day?
I think either of those options would be really good.
So they could be.
Yeah.
They could be. There's some things that are going on. The Keeter Center's having a candle-lit evening.
Yes.
There's a Valentine's Day cruise that's happening. And, of course, you can always shop in Branson on Valentine's.
Absolutely.
So, trivia. Are you ready for some trivia?
I'm ready.
We didn't do trivia last week.
Right.
Because it was a special week last week. Because for those of you that didn't watch last week, we celebrated our 1-year anniversary of doing Play Branson. Okay, what state provides the majority of America's roses? So it's got a Valentine's theme on our trivia.
I don't know.
It is California.
California.
On Valentine's Day 1876, who received a patent for what important invention?
I don't know.
It was Alexander Graham Bell for the telephone.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
1876. Just think how far the telephone has come.
Yes.
This is a good one. What percentage of women send roses to themselves on Valentine's Day?
No. Probably like 20-30%.
It's actually 15%.
15.
But I think
better.
that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Like 15%.
That's crazy.
I guess people want to they want people to think maybe somebody likes them.
Right.
I don't know.
I don't know.
So tell us a little bit about our guests that we have coming up today.
We've got Mike Walker with us, so we're excited to have him. He's pretty big, well known in this town.
Mike Walker, and he does a lot of different impressions.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting to see if he does any today.
That it will.
So anyway, we'll be back in just a moment. Mike Walker.
There are so many things to do in Branson. You need help planning and booking all your fun. You need iBranson.com. You can find everything Branson has to offer from your computer, tablet, or cell phone. You can even buy tickets online or talk to one of their friendly Branson travel specialists. There's no sales pitches, no delivery fees, no service fees, and no waiting. It's fast and easy. Find your fun at iBranson.com. Do it all online or call 877-ENTERTAIN. That's 877-368-3782. iBranson.com.
Welcome back to Play Branson. We're here today with Mike Walker. Mike, it's great to have you.
It's great to be had.
So you have got a long entertainment history, even before Branson, and I didn't realize all this. And so kind of take people back and kind of talk about what you've done before Branson.
Well, when I first got started, I was a young boy. I was 5 years old when I first got my first paying gig.
Wow.
I played nursing homes as an Elvis impersonator. They called me Little Elvis.
Little Elvis.
Yes. And my dad made me a stage, and it was really cool because he would put it in the back of his truck and take me to the nursing homes. And my mom was my booking agent. She booked me in all kinds of different nursing homes. We lived in Columbus, Ohio at the time. And she was the director of a nursing home, and she told the activities department if they didn't hire me, she would fire them. And so they did, and I started my career that way, and being an Elvis impersonator. And my mom made my first outfit out of a dress she found in a thrift store that had a bunch of stones and stuff on it, so she just cut it down the middle, and then it was instant bell bottoms. And so she called in a 200-mile radius all of the nursing homes and started booking the activities in those places. And at the time I was making I was working Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday afternoons. I was making $250 a day.
Wow.
Wish I could do that now.
That's pretty darn good for a 5-year-old, right?
Yeah, and I did that till I was about 13. So, and then when I was 13, I just kind of laid everything down, and I started listening to other people's music. And but if it hadn't been for Elvis Presley, I don't think I would have ever started singing, because I really enjoyed his music. My mom had 2 records when I was a kid. She had an Elvis Presley record, which was a single, and the single was Way On Down, which was the last single that he ever released. So I had to go backwards, to get all this stuff. And the other single she had was a song by Conway Twitty called "Don't Take It Away." And those two songs are just.
Because you've done a Conway tribute show too, right?
Yes, and I've got 4 favorite singers: Conway Twitty, Marty Robbins, Roy Orbison, and Elvis Presley. To me, there's not any other singers that can even compare to those guys, because I think they're the pillars of the vocals. They're the real singers, because in their own styles, they're their own genres of music, because they can sing just anything, and they proved it because they have recorded everything.
So when you were 5 to 13 doing this, did you want to do it, or?
Oh, most definitely. That was my thing. I hated school. I really hated school. And when I was older, we moved to Jackson, Tennessee. My mom and dad took me for my 13th birthday. I'd never seen Graceland. And so for my 13th birthday, my mom and dad just saved the money up and took me to Memphis and took me to Graceland. And that was it for me. I mean, it was like I walked in that house and I walked around, and I really got a real scope of the sadness and the emotion of what music can do to somebody if you allow it. And so when we left Graceland, we stopped back through Jackson, Tennessee, which is weird because that's the home of Carl Perkins and rockabilly music.
Okay.
And there in Jackson, my folks, we was there stopping to eat at this place called Abby's, and it was connected to a Days Inn. And my dad had talked to the owner of that place and asked him because my dad thought it was imperative that we carry my equipment everywhere we went, because it didn't matter. You never knew who you might run into, so. And I was always ready to sing no matter what. And so we carried my equipment everywhere. So he had talked to the owner of the place and asked if I could perform in Abby's. And of course the guy said sure. Yeah. So we set up the equipment in the area there, because it was like a Denny's, the Abby's was like a Denny's. And so we set up our gear, and we rented a room next door, and I made like $70 something like dollars, because the guy passed the hat for me. So that he told me if I ever came back through, he had a television show called Big Jim's Around the Golden Circle, or Around the Golden Circle with Big Jim Cheatham. So whenever we got through, my dad said, well, we'll be back next week. So we got in. We went back to Ohio. We lived in Columbus, Ohio at the time, and we went back home and took my mom home, and we came back the next week, and we stayed at that same Days Inn. And my mom, she and dad talked about it, and Jackson was right between Memphis and Nashville, so they both looked for jobs in that area and found them.
And so they were very dedicated to your career.
They were. They saw the want for what I wanted to do, and they just dropped. My mom was a wonderful singer. She sounded just like Tammy Wynette, and of course my grandmother, she was a great singer, and she sang in church and played guitar and piano. And then my great grandmother played with little Jimmy Dickens. She was a guitar player for him. So music runs in the background of my family, and but I love music. If you some people, if you do surgery on them, and you do brain surgery, you find little round red blood cells for me, if you did that to me, you'd find little black music notes.
Yeah.
So with going to Graceland, having that experience, what came after that? Because I read somewhere where Elvis Enterprises contacted you, needed some work for them.
Yes. Well, we found our place in Jackson, Tennessee. We were there, and I started working with Carl Perkins. He had a couple of telethons that he did called one was a child abuse center that he raised money for each year, and the other one was a cerebral palsy telethon. And they had these two, and he contacted me when I got to town. One of the people that were at the restaurant there knew him real well, and they got in touch with me to come and do that. So that was cool. I got to work with Carl several times. We started working at a catering company. These people down the road had a catering company, and we started working with them, and they had bands at these corporate events. And my dad would go up and ask the band if I could get up and sing a couple of songs. He was a
big promoter.
Oh, he was great.
Most definitely.
So we went up there, and the bands would reluctantly say yes. And I'd get up and sing a couple of Elvis songs. And one night, the person from the Tennessee Tourism was there and hired and asked me if I would be interested in being the voice of Elvis. So I worked for Graceland.
So
for
what
12 years.
give us a little taste. Can you give us a little taste? We got just a few seconds left. Give us a little Elvis taste.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming to the house today. So.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Hey, folks, we'll be back in just a second to continue this interview. Stay tuned.
Mike Walker will leave a lasting impression on you.
I've been really trying, baby. Trying to hold back these feelings for so long.
Now at the Hamner Variety Theater, Mike Walker's lasting impressions.
Say I got a woman way over town. She's good to me. Oh yeah. When I was just a baby, my mama told me, son, always be a good boy, don't you ever play with guns. Yeah, we're two of a kind, working on a full house.
Master impressionist Mike Walker will prove his prowess, and no celebrity is safe.
I know I made you cry, but baby, if I could turn back time, yo, Adrian, whiskey river, take my mind. Don't let a memory torture me.
Nashville recording artist and master impressionist Mike Walker.
Honey, do you want to love all night? Honey, do you want to hold me tight? Cuddle up close, snuggle up and give a little come home, come home. Just say you will, say you will.
Live at the Hamner Variety Theater.
She'll see I'm not so tough just because I'm in love with an uptown girl. Yeah, little Charlotte, she's as pretty as the angels when they sang. I can't believe I'm out here on the front porch in this swing, just a swinging, swinging.
Tickets on sale at the box office, or for more information, go to MikeWalkerMTH.com.
Don't let our love start slipping, love starts slipping away. It's truth is marching on.
Don't miss Mike Walker, Lasting Impressions at the Hamner Variety Theater.
Welcome back to Play Branson. We're here with Mike Walker, and Mike, you're kind of telling us a little bit about your history, and there's still more to go. So tell us more.
Okay. Well, here we go. Graceland was a big deal for me. We were doing these little catering things, and like I said, my dad would ask the bands for me to get up and sing, and I'd usually get up and sing a couple of Elvis songs. But I wasn't an Elvis impersonator anymore. I retired that whole deal when I was 13 years old because I knew there was more music out there. So, but I still sang all of his music, mixed in with the other stuff as well. And when we were at this catering thing, I got up and sang, and then the Department of Tennessee Tourism had somebody representative there. So the lady come over to me and asked me if I would be interested in being the voice of Elvis for the Tennessee tourism commercials. And I said, yeah. And so they contacted me later on, and we went up to Memphis, and I did 149 commercials for the Department of Tennessee Tourism as a voice of Elvis.
That's a lot.
And then when that happened, Graceland contacted me and asked me if I would come to do the voice of Elvis for them. So I did that for 12 years, doing their parties and all kinds of stuff. So, and then I even actually, at the time when I did Good Morning America, and I was the only act to ever perform on the grounds of Graceland besides Elvis.
Huh.
And that was due to another group that got sick. They couldn't perform when they was supposed to, so they were actually scheduled. So thanks Dempsey's for getting sick.
Yeah, there you go.
Then we went to. I moved to Nashville. Well, I didn't move to Nashville. When I was about 16 years old, we started opening for groups like the Coasters and the Drifters and things like that. And the horn player for the Coasters was named Bobby Simmons, and I'll never forget that because he's the reason that I got hooked into Nashville. And he had contacted. He gave me a card to this manager named Lloyd Barker, and Lloyd was a huge deal in Nashville. I mean, he was doing Confederate Railroad and George Jones, Johnny Paycheck, all these great acts. Right. And so my dad contacted him, and the guy and Lloyd told my dad, well, if Bobby gave you the card, then there's something to it. So why don't you come up to Nashville? So I met with him, and me and my dad met with him, and he told us if he had anything to talk about, he would contact me, and if not, then we probably wouldn't hear from him. Didn't believe in wasting time. Well, 6 years later, he calls me back, and I never heard of him. He says, "You got anything with you singing Conway Twitty on it?" And I said, "Well, yeah." I said, "He's one of my favorites." So I sent him a song that I recorded called "Rainy Night in Georgia," where it was Sam Moore and Conway Twitty doing a duet, and I did both parts. And he goes, "Are you singing both parts?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, that's weird." So he says, "I want you to come up and meet Dale Morris." Well, Dale Morris managed Alabama, Kenny Chesney, all these huge acts. And so I went up to meet him. And Dale looked at me, and he had that cassette tape. He said, "If this is you on this tape, we're going to be in business. If it's not, you have a long ride back to Nashville, back to Jackson, Tennessee." He actually made me bring him a guitar player with me, so that he would actually see that it was me singing. So we did about 2 lines of "It's Only Make Believe," and he just smiled and paid the guitar player $180 and told him to go back home. He drove 2 hours to play 2 lines of a song. Wow. But it was great. So we started a big relationship there, and I did a lot of showcases for the major labels, RCA and Capitol and all these different labels. And we were actually in the studio recording some sides, and I was recording a song called "Rub It In." Remember that song, "Rub It In, Rub It In"? I was recording that song. It was originally done by Billy Crash Craddock, and I was in there recording that in this studio called Loud Studios, and a guy named Richard Landis was producing it, and James Stroud was a huge producer in Nashville. He found Clint Black and just Tim McGraw, all these great acts. He was their producer, and he ran Giant Records for a long time, but he was now the president of DreamWorks Records, and he asked for a copy of what we were recording, and we gave it to him. So I didn't even do a showcase for this guy, and so we were waiting on one of the most embarrassing things that ever happened to me was we were on Good Morning America, and Dale had asked me to make the proclamation that I was signed to RCA, and I wasn't. So I felt really like I didn't want to do that, because
that's kind of strange, isn't it? Yeah.
But the reason he did was because Joe Galante was the president of RCA, and he was going to call him and have him watch me on Good Morning America, and after that they passed. So I did that. So I made the big announcement because it was RCA, because that's what Elvis was on, and so that they told me that they passed. So that was really a big embarrassment.
Wow.
But about 3 weeks later, James Stroud called and said that they wanted to sign me to DreamWorks. So they signed me to DreamWorks, and one of the stipulations was that I was going to be on the biggest tour of the summer that year, and that was the Brooks and Dunn Neon Circus tour. And I had worked with a lot of different acts before, like Brooks and Dunn and Toby Keith and Montgomery Gentry and Rascal Flatts, Lone Star. I've opened for just about everybody and anybody, Keith Urban, all of them, when my stuff was out on the radio. And it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. But I came to Branson via Mickey Gilley.
Okay.
And Mickey was a very big part of me coming to this place, because I'd never heard of it. I was in Nashville playing a bar, and my band were fantastic songwriters, and so we decided to go play our new songs that we had written into a different place. And just so happened Mickey Gilley was across the street doing Larry the Cable Guy's birthday party.
Interesting.
And so he came across and heard me and asked me to come to Branson. I came up here, and I was doing a show in Springfield, Missouri with Toby Keith. And so I just sent the bus back home and came up here, rented a car, and come up here and stayed with Mickey for a couple of days. And I've been here for 12 years. And
the rest is history.
That's
then.
right.
See, and here's the thing is, I don't think most people realize that history that you just shared is pretty darn amazing. And so you came to Branson because another entertainer told you, but like there's a lot of history there that's pretty darn amazing.
Well, it was a lot of fun. My wife asked me not too long ago, did I wish that my own career would have been more success, and I told her, I said, well, that's kind of in the eye of the beholder, because to me I'm more successful than any of the other guys, because I'm not a prisoner of my own body. I can go to the baseball games with my kids. And I still make great money.
Yeah. So tell people, because we're about out of time, tell people about your show today, what they can see, what they can expect, where it's at.
Well, both of my shows are at the Hamner Variety Theater. I do a 2:00 show. Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2:00, I do the Lasting Impressions show, which features about 65 to 70 different artists, because I do impressions of all those people. Now, there's a difference.
That's all coming out of your mouth.
Yes.
It's all live. It's all real.
There's a difference between an impersonator and an impressionist. An impersonator is a cross-dresser. An impressionist is a schizophrenic freak. So there's a difference. And then we do a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 2:00. We do a tribute to Conway Twitty. And the reason that I chose Conway is because there's a lot of Elvises.
Yes.
And I love Conway's music anyway.
Yeah. Okay, folks. I feel like we could have talked like another 10 minutes here, and so we'll have to have Mike back on again. But be sure to go check him out over at Hamner's Variety Theater. It's over there on Shepherd of the Hills Expressway. And be sure to go to ibranson.com and check that website out. You can book his show as well as lots of others there. You can reach those folks at 1-877-ENTERTAIN or go to ibranson.com. We'll be back in just a moment.
The Holiday Inn Express, Green Mountain Drive. It's the perfect resort hotel for your next Branson stay. Check into one of our many room types. Then relax in the refreshing indoor pool and hot tub. Enjoy the free hot breakfast every day. For more information or to make reservations, call 800-321-7275.
This is Chris Meyer, and I'm with Play Branson, and we're on location today at the Butterfly Palace. Most of the time you guys are seeing us in the studio, but we're out, and I'm here with Brittany Smith, the general manager. It's good to have you.
Thank you.
And tell people a little bit about the Butterfly Palace. What can they expect when they come here?
Well, everything we have here is interactive. We're trying to get you up close and personal to the butterflies. We have reptiles and amphibians downstairs, very interactive and educational as well. Live music, and we even do butterfly releases daily at 10:30 and 1:30. And those are the newly emerged butterflies that have never flown before, and we release them out here for their first flight.
So you guys do that every day?
Yeah.
So every day, folks, they're launching new butterflies, and maybe you can't see this this on the video, but there are butterflies all over the place here. And the lady in the background is playing dulcimer music. It's just beautiful. It's a beautiful setting. We're going to show you a few more things here at the Butterfly Palace, but if you've never been here before, it's kind of something you might not expect in Branson, but it's a lot of fun.
My name is Brianne, and this is a 10:30 butterfly release. So what we're going to be doing today is releasing some newly emerged butterflies. So when I say newly emerged, these guys emerged out of the chrysalis sometime early this morning. So before 8 o'clock, before I got to work, their wings have all been able to dry, and this will be the first time they get to fly them. So it's the first time they get to fly, the first time they get to eat, and the first time they're in here. So it's the first for everything today then. But these guys like to be stubborn sometimes, so sometimes we really got to shake them for them to come out. But that is his first time flying right there then, okay?
Hey, welcome back to Play Branson, folks. Hey, every once in a while, I will feature a local entertainer in their CD, and so happen to have Prince Ivan here today. So this is a local group doing great stuff. This was their EP. They've got a lot of good songs on here.
They do.
Lean and Sway, Dance Pants, Dance in the Rain.
And their new music video that came out, that was really fun.
So, folks, if they haven't seen Prince Ivan, be sure to support them, princeivan.com, and they do play a few dates, typically in the summer here in Branson, and I'm expecting big things out of Prince Ivan. So we want to promote those guys. We want to promote all of our entertainers. So if you got a CD you want it promoted, you let me know, and if it's good, I will tell people. If it's not good, I ain't telling anybody. It's wintertime, and there's this big rumor or myth that's not true, is that Branson is completely closed.
Right.
And so tell people kind of what's going on and what they can experience in Branson in the winter.
Sure. Well, we do have a couple shows open. We've got the Haygoods that are going to have lots of shows towards the end of February. We've got Grand Country that's open. So a lot of that. And then we also have the museums too. So check out Ripley's, Titanic, Hollywood Wax Museum.
Yeah. And so Legends also has a show, and they start, I think it's like February 2nd.
Yeah.
And so they have the Blues Brothers, Johnny Cash, Martina McBride, the Four Tops, and Elvis. And so we have the Doo-Wop and the Drifters, George Jones at IMAX as well. So there's escape rooms. So people can have like I'd almost say a mini vacation or mini getaway, even in February, even though lots of things are closed. There's lots of things that are open. And so if you're at home saying, I need to get out of the house, I'm tired of this cold weather, come to Branson. Go to ibranson.com. You can plan your entire vacation there, or call 1-877-ENTERTAIN, and those people can help you plan your entire vacation. We've had a great episode today talking to Mike Walker. If he does an amazing, I mean, what did he say? 60, 70 impressions, maybe even more than that. And he's been in Branson a long time now. And Mickey Gilley brought him to town, and so be sure to go see his show as well. And we appreciate you guys watching us, and we hope you'll come visit us in Branson, Missouri in 2018.